Hi team, I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to today's workshop. Today's workshop, I've actually called it How High Performers Manage Their Time. A lot of the things that I talk about are things that I use. I didn't invent these ideas. These are well-honed ideas that many people are using, and I'm sure some of them are being used by you already. But always a good reminder sometimes to get back to the basics and really think about how you manage your day, manage your time. Days compound into weeks, compound into months, compound into years. So if we are effective every day, or we have a routine and methodology around how we plan our days and our weeks, then we have a very good chance of being highly successful and high performers in our roles. So I've started off with two good quotes that I thought would emphasize some of the things that I want to talk about here. But the first one is, if you don't prioritize your life, somebody else will. And then the next one, your brain cannot sprint while changing lanes. Protect your focus or pay the switching tax. So a few of the things will be talked about here, which are relating to those quotes. But the first, there's four different parts to what I want to discuss. The first one is planning your days and weeks, then theming your days and your time blocks. Another one is energy management. We often talk about time management. We don't talk about energy management. And the last one is just ruthless discipline. So planning days and weeks. So hugely important, obviously. The first thing to keep in mind when you're planning your day or your week is to have your goals front and center. Your plans should be a reflection of what your goals are, where you're at to your goals. Those can be your quarterly goals, your monthly goals, your weekly goals. So keep those in focus. And the second part of planning your days and weeks is to ensure that everything is diarized. They say what's in the diary is what matters. So you can say you have an intention to start something at 10 o'clock and do it for 2 hours, but if you actually haven't set in your diary and you don't follow your diary, there's a good chance it's not going to happen. So you need to diarize and protect your time in that way. Another important point is theming days and time blocks. So you might have heard of a term called context switching. Context switching is that's the first quote, that if your brain cannot sprint while changing lanes, protect your focus or pay the switching tax. So that's why people theme their days or theme their time blocks, because it allows them to be focused, truly focused in what they're doing. The next point that I want to talk about is energy management. Now, a lot of us talk about time management, but then if we don't manage our energy, then actually our time is split and it's not very focused. So energy management is really about how you keep your focus, how you don't change lanes. Some of the biggest productivity killers through a day are messages beeping from chat, our personal phone ringing, and various other things. People tapping on the shoulder to chat to you sometimes can also be extremely distracting. So we have to protect that energy as much as we have to protect that time, because if your mind, as soon as your mind is drifted into two places, like sometimes we actually have an intention when somebody maybe puts a chat message up for us, even though we're doing something, what we'll often do is we'll just quickly read it and we'll say to ourselves, you know what, I'm not going to actually act on it because I'm doing this thing right now, but I'm just going to read it. So what happens there is now all of a sudden there's a new seed planted in your brain. So yes, you're still doing the other thing, but now your attention is split. You might be doing your thing, maybe you're on a sales call, for instance. Now your mind is on the other thing too. It's not an intentional thing. In fact, you're trying not to do it, but you can't help to do it, So the chat message was about X, and you are thinking, oh, okay, well, I'll just get that ready for that. And, oh, what does he mean by that? And, oh, that's a bit frustrating. Why is he bringing that up now? Etc., etc. So now we're in no place focused. We're in two places unfocused. So that's an example of energy management. So we can actually even train the people around us to help us with our energy focus. Somebody might ask for something within a particular time block, and the best thing we can do is we can actually say to them, if we actually are aware of it, maybe they're tapping us on the shoulder, for instance, we should actually say to them, can I just get back to you at 12 o'clock? I'm just right within a work block at the moment, and then we can go through that. Because even answering a basic question can put you in that zone. Often a basic question even becomes another basic question, and all of a sudden, before you know, you're in a full-blown discussion. So, and that probably leads into the last point here, which is just ruthless discipline. There is not that much in the day that is urgent, that actually requires us to context switch. There is some things, granted, but most 99% of things are not that urgent. But yes, if there's one urgent thing, yes, we have to attend to it, absolutely. But otherwise, we should be ruthlessly disciplined. Now, that is a cumulative thing. If we have that thinking in mind each day, each week, each month, over a period of a year, there's many, many hours of context switching we can save ourselves, and many, many hours of much more focused work that's done. So those are probably the key parts of what I wanted to cover: planning your days and weeks, theming days and time blocks, energy management, and then a ruthless discipline around those things. Keeping those in focus every day, I think, is really going to help you become a high performer. If you aren't already, I'm sure if you're on the Easy Asset team, you're already a high performer. And then I've just got a couple of bonus thoughts, which I really like. One is a quote: your email inbox is a list of other people's priorities. So I like this because when I first read that, the article that it was in talked about how every single morning you should do your daily plan before you check your emails, because if you go along this theory of your email inbox as a list of other people's priorities, you don't want other people's priorities flooding into your head before you've had a chance in each day to actually decide intentionally what you're going to do that day. So you really want to do your own plan before you start to look at what other people's priorities for you are. And that includes things like social media and all that sort of stuff, or chat messages, all that sort of stuff. So obviously sometimes it's going to happen where you catch a glimpse of something and you're thinking about that before the beginning of your day. But if you can set this as an intention every single day to have your own plan in place, list the things that you want to achieve, and then start to look at what other people's priorities are, what other things are coming up. Obviously, there's certain roles that actually are all about other people's priorities. It's not most roles, though, to be honest. So if you are in one of those roles, then yes, your priorities for the day need to be formulated through what people are asking for you. But generally, it's still important to think of your priorities first. The last one, actually, I got from Tim Ferriss, one of my favorite podcasters. And he's got this theory that he likes to talk, that he talks about, called make before you manage. And basically saying, as we go into our day, which is the managing the tasks, managing the work, managing the emails, if we have a creative task or a task that's going to help us progress, those are often where the big gains are made. You might have a campaign that you need to get out, or a particular type of document that needs to be done, or a spec that needs to be created. Those are often the things that are going to make big impacts on our roles and on our goals. So he's got this theory of do some making each day, even if it's just for 15 minutes or half an hour, whatever it might be, before you do all your general managing. I really like that, and I often do that when I have an important making project on my agenda. It also energizes me for the day when I know that I've actually achieved something creative that actually is going to help me or the business move forward. So I really like that one. Those are just some bonus thoughts, but generally the other concepts are the key things to keep in mind for the day. So enjoy those. I use these, I would say, fairly ruthlessly. Some days I drift off, but most days I'm doing this intentionally. I'm right, you'll see me with a pad of paper many days where I'm actually writing down. It's another powerful thing that I've learned, that somebody talked about, actually writing down things that you want to achieve for the day. One other last tip I would suggest is, let's say you have 5 or 6 priorities for a day. Circle the 1 or 2 that are going to make the biggest impact. and try to do those first before you answer emails, before you do anything else. But yeah, good luck with your time management, and look forward to the next workshop.